So the question becomes, what does each faith leader believe, and what does it show in the word about your responsibility? If I'm sick, if I have a disease, am I waiting on the man or woman of God to touch and agree with me before I can get healing? Or is there a responsibility that I have, whether it's to think positive, to believe, to work with God and do these and have these powers that he says we have? I hope I'm clear on where we're trying to go with the conversation, because it's really about, I want to know what each faith leader's word says about the self-healing. What is our responsibility? Or am I just to sit up there in the hospital and be like, okay, all right, God, I guess I'm gonna get healed. I'm gonna get my healing. What else do I need to do? Do I need to clear the room of people who are naysayers up and down? Or, how do we do that? Because I remember I heard a word recently where the pastor said that in the Bible, every time Jesus would heal someone and bring them from the dead, he cleared the room. He didn't want any negative naysayers. He cleared the room. Then he did his miracle. So I'm going to put that out there, Dr. Ayers. I'll let you run with it.
Thank you so much, Rod. I'm going to turn it over to Imam Hassan, because I believe that he was leading this discussion. But the one thing I do want to say is that we just got to be careful. First of all, knowing from where our help comes from first. Our help comes from the Lord, from above. We don't have the power in and of ourselves to really do anything. That power comes from him, from above. That's first. And second, I would say, before I turn it over to Imam Hassan, we talk about self-healing. I would just caution that we all have to separate self-healing from selfish healing, okay? Because selfishness is not really the way, right? It's not the way of the Lord. It's not the way that we should go. And if we think that we're just self-healers and just going to go out there and heal ourselves, esoteric of God, then I think we'd be in error. But now I'm just going to turn it over to
of self-healing. I think when you look at this topic, one thing I believe in Islam, it connects. Science is the observation of human eyes and data, and never has proven science has never ever contradicted what the Quran says about, when it comes to scientific facts, in a lot of aspects. So one thing is that science is it becomes a supplement to our belief. Nowadays, there's been a divide where they negate religion and say religion. So they have this show called The Doctor, where in that show it went on for 10 years, and suddenly they're pushing messages that prayer is a waste of time, right? You shouldn't pray and all these different things. And then the other extreme is that all we should do is pray. So Islam, we believe, brings a balance. Now, the story of Jesus, because we believe Jesus is a prophet of God, not a son of God, and we believe every prophet was given a miracle. And every prophet was given a miracle during their time at which their people were good at, but they were not known to be good at it. So during the time of Noah, they were good at architecture, so God gave them the miracle of building the ark. During the time of Moses, they claimed to be good at magic, so God gave him the staff to split the sea in half. During the time of Solomon, they tried to communicate and so forth, and Solomon was given the gift of communicating with the winds and the animals and so forth. During the time of Jesus, they were very known to be good in medicine and self-care. They were good, and that was like the known thing. So God gave him the ability to heal the sick with a simple touch. Now, there is one incident that we believe is authentic about when God gave him the ability to bring one lady back to life. And there was a mother weeping at the grave of her daughter. So Jesus asked, would you like her to come back? And of course, God gave him the ability to do so. But when she did come back, she wanted to go back inside the grave and did not want to stay on earth. And that was the only other thing. And then of course, one day we can get into deeper discussion, I think, because this is the ultimate difference I believe, between Islam and Christianity is this one segment, this story of Jesus, I believe. And there's many other similarities that do exist, of course. Now, self-healing, I believe there's physical pain and emotional pain, right? And there's healthy pain and there's unhealthy pain. So when you go into the gym and you feel like that pain at the end, you're pushing yourself to the limit, that's a healthy type of pain because now your muscles are growing. When you're running an extra lap, you get tired the second, third day, it's a little painful, right? You're disciplining yourself from not eating things you like. It's a bit painful. I'm taking the phone away from my daughter because she's been spending a lot of time on the tablet. She's crying. It's painful to see that, but that's a healthy type of pain. So I think being able to distinguish and differentiate between healthy pain and healthy pleasure is very important. Pleasure is good also, but then there's pleasure that's healthy and not healthy, right? You know, people who have pleasure in hurting others, that's not healthy. Bullying others, making fun of others, making jokes about others and their weight and so forth, that's unhealthy pleasure, right? Unhealthy pleasure could be, going to substance use and other things, and you go in there. So then ultimately, I believe as humans, we are limited and we need a manual in life to be able to function consistently and timelessly. And I believe that guidance has to be divine because God programmed us, created us, and knows what's good for us and what's bad for us. So what may seem as painful, so for example, in Islam, we're told to fast from sunrise to dawn to sunset in Ramadan, which is coming in 2 months. For a lot of people, that's crazy. Like, how can you put yourself through 16 hours of no eating, no drinking, no sexual relation, nothing, no consumption for 16 hours? So I remember one of my friends, he became Muslim. He was on the USF football team, and the coach said, "You're not allowed to fast because you're not going to be able to handle it if you're practicing on the squad." And it was at that time it was in June. It was very hot, and he did it anyways. He said, "I never felt better." And then in the NBA, you have Kyrie Irving, Hakeem Olajuwon back in the day. I finally one remembers Hakeem Olajuwon, the Dream, right? And they would perform better while fasting. Now, the thing is, the only reason we do it is because, people can say there's wisdom behind it. You feel how the poor feel, but ultimately we do it because God told us to do it, right? So we know that we can trust in God that whatever He tells us to do, that is authentic and that has been proven to be from God, it's only going to bring you, it may be painful to do, but it brings pleasure. For example, we're commanded to pray in our religion every day around like 6 a.m. in the morning. It's painful to get up early, but when you get up, you feel the sweetness of faith and the sweetness of the day when you wake up in the morning, but you made that sacrifice. Now, unhealthy, also you have, for example, so then it goes to the healing part. So if I get a cut, I know I wear a band-aid, put alcohol on it, cover it, right, for a cut. But then some things that need deeper things. Now, the concept of prayer, all right, we're told in our faith that everything has a cure and a medicine for it except one thing, and that is death, right? And we're told in the Quran that every soul is tasting death, meaning everyone one day ultimately will meet their Lord, and their time in this world will end, all right? And one of the main 5 gifts we're going to be asked about, we believe on the Day of Judgment, one of them is our health before we lose it. So then, realizing that every second that passed by is 1 second to me, our Lord. So I think if people are raising their hand, so I'm gonna get one more minute and then I'll pass it on. So now I was asked when I came back from my trip by one of my students. He's like, "Look, if God created us and this life is a test, I don't want to be a part of this test. Why am I forced to live in a world where suffering takes place, where all this stuff happens? And why would God put us through all of this, right?" And this is where you have the concept of logic and spirituality. Too much logic will lead you to the path where you believe you become, in essence, your own God because you do whatever you want. And logic and spirituality without logic, you just become a blind follower. So then you strike a balance, right? Where I know that I'm taking this medicine, and we say a prayer before we take the medicine. We say, Bismillah, Allah, Shafi. Oh God, you're the one who cures. Allow this medicine to cure me, right? So then we are told in Islam to take bil asbab, like to do the means, but we don't depend on the means, all right? So I take the medicine, but God is the one who cures. He allows it to cure me or not cure me, all right? And then we make the prayer. Same thing with the car. We have the means that a car will take me there, but the car might break down. We don't know. So we don't worship the means, but we use the means to worship God, all right, as a means to get closer to God. So then we're told that any intoxicant in our faith is not allowed because those things may seem like they're healing, but they actually take it further away and have negative impacts. And then when it comes to also how do we involve family and all these different things. I mean, I can go on, but I'd like to pass it on to